and welcome to the 45th Annual CADC Award Show. I'm Logan Galla, the president of the CADC, and I'm so excited to welcome you back. The show is the truest manifestation of our mission, to celebrate the incredible work being done in our state, and to inspire the next generation of creative professionals. Every year, we love seeing all the entries pour in. This year in particular, it's been extremely heartening for all of us to see everything you've accomplished since the last time we all got together in 2019. On behalf of everyone at the club, I want to sincerely thank all of you for your patience and support while we figured out how to bring the show back. We faced a whole new set of challenges putting the show together this year, but we think the solutions we found will make the show better as the years go on. Before we jump into the show, I'd like to take a moment to talk to you about the club and where we're headed. Obviously, we've had a lot of time to reflect on who and where we are as an organization. This should come as no surprise to you, but we found ourselves in a tough spot in these last few years. As a result, we've had to put our heads down and rethink what the CADC is and how it can play a meaningful role in your lives and careers. As we move forward, we're putting in place a whole new structure that we believe will allow us to grow into an organization that is more capable of fulfilling its mission. We're committing to fostering the creative community in Connecticut. As part of that commitment, we're reshaping the CADC membership. As a membership-supported organization, we're all really excited to share some of the new ways in which we'll be using membership to spread inspiration and to bring us all together. Now let's get back to the reason you're all here, the show. While we couldn't put on a show without all of you, we also couldn't do it without our fabulous judges. Each year, we strive to put together a diverse panel, both in background and in skill set, and this year was no exception. I was fortunate enough to sit in on some of their deliberations, and it was a joy to listen to them share their experiences and perspectives. So to our judges, I'd like to thank you for sharing your time and expertise with us, and to the rest of you, I can't wait for you to meet them.
Hi, I'm Diane Holton. I'm based in Washington, D.C. By day, I play Deputy Art Director at AARP, specifically the editorial department, but you can find me in some other areas that cover our sub-brands, thegirlfriend.com, sistersletter.com, the Ethel, and we have a new property that we have developed.
Hi, I'm Evan Stremke, Senior Art Director at Manifesto. Also do some design work at stremke.design. I'm a Milwaukee native, but I've been around the Midwest and out to Boston for a spat, and back in the Midwest now, settled in, but made a connection with the Connecticut Art Directors Club a few years ago, and really thrilled to finally have a chance to judge the show this year.
Hi, I'm Maura Hendrickson. I'm a senior designer at Reebok.com, and I'm so excited to be here as part of the Connecticut Art Directors Club judges.
I'm Christina Hagopian. I'm the president and creative director of Hagopian Inc., an award-winning New York City graphic design and creative direction studio. We are turning 19 years old this September, and we're pleased to be a part of this judging.
Hi, my name is Diego Weinesman. I'm very honored to be part of this great group of creative directors today judging this competition. And I have to say that I was blown away by some of the work. It's really fantastic work. I run my own design office here in Manhattan, 40 and 47 Design. I also travel around the world giving workshops about design, and I enjoy being with students.
ever since our school, we always shared what we were doing with each other. In other words, any design that I did, I would show Jan, and the nice thing about our relationship is that you hope that there's diversity of opinion. The worst situation is the typical yes man in a corporation. The chairman likes it, so everyone says, yes, I like it too. I've never had that problem with Jan.
Well, my judges award was a really clear decision for me. I did have a few favorites, but the one that really stood out was the video for graphic design at the University of Connecticut. It really brought me back to that feeling of pure excitement that I had when I had made the decision to go to Carnegie Mellon School of Design. It wasn't necessarily the production, but it was the subject all coming together, the music, the movement, the energy. I had a moment where I was almost whelmed with that emotion, kind of rewinding back in time to that time in my life when I was making that decision to be a designer. And it combined both the digital and analog aspects of the creative moments of school, and I really appreciated all of it. The rhythm and motion, you felt it. You just felt it inside from the motion. And I can see that it was successful at doing the job that it was set out to do, which I think is important for all designs. And it was to promote the University of Connecticut design program, and I think it did that job really well.
Hello everyone, my name is Michael Marks, and I'm the new Executive Director of the Connecticut Art Directors Club. I know this may be news to some of you, though the last year has been quite the roller coaster. Our board began looking for a new Executive Director in late 2019. The Executive Director at the time was in her 10th year and ready for a change. I had been on the board for a couple of years and was very committed to the influence and the impact the CADC could have. When I was approached about taking on the role of Executive Director, I couldn't accept immediately. I needed to learn more about this role and what exactly it entailed. I met with the Executive Director numerous Saturday mornings for many, many weeks. There was much to share over her 10 years keeping the CADC running, and I wanted to make sure I was able to commit to what this role needed. In these conversations, not only did I learn more about this organization and this position, but I learned a great deal about this next recipient. As an account director at Over Above for 13 years, she's been the connective tissue on many projects. She can deliver under the most stressful conditions and juggle numerous tasks without losing focus. She was the ballast for this organization for a decade, and I am certainly feeling some pressure having stepped in her shoes. As soon as her name was mentioned, it was a unanimous decision all across our board. It is my pleasure to introduce to you this year's Service Award recipient, Amber Berg.
Everyone was sitting around this table and everyone introduced themselves and they had like a specific role. It was like, hi, I'm Troy, I'm the president. Hi, I'm Lorena, I'm the vice president. Hi, I'm Rachel, I'm the secretary. And I just remember being like, oh my God, this shit is real. Like, this is a real organization. What did I get myself into? And it was just, you had various board members at the time that were, whether they were focused on designing art for the show or they had chair people coming up with events. And then it was little pockets of everybody, but everyone had a role and everyone had a purpose. And honestly, that first meeting is where I knew I could come in and I had a spot that had to be filled, which was organization, because nothing against us creative people, which I consider myself one of them now, but we all use different parts of our brain, and QuickBooks is not necessarily one of them at all times. I have never been part of something in my career that had a legacy. Like I came in, I've been with Over Above now for, it will be 14 years. And so I've been growing with it, but I started with it when it was young. So I had never jumped into something in my career other than CDC that already had an establishment. I think the legacy part of it is what makes it what it is. And you can't forget any of that stuff, because how you asked me about stories, the reason why I grew to love CADC and what I learned about it is because of listening to all the stories and how it got to where it was. And the challenges the 3 other executive directors went through before I went through them. It was, talking to Shannon and talking to Margaret and talking to everyone about all that stuff. So the legacy, it just felt good to be a part of that. And I'm proud to now be a part of that after 10 years. I'm like, wow, it was supposed to be a couple years. Dang, I did 10. So I would say to somebody young coming in, join a CADC, because you're not just joining a board to be part of something that puts events on, you're joining it to help grow you as a person. Honestly, the 10 years that I was with CADC, I can't think of a more fun, stressful, challenging, but so super, super rewarding time in my life. And I can truly say that if it weren't for this group of people that I have met for the past 10 years, I would be such a different person and in a different way than I am. And CADC is just much more than a nonprofit organization with a 501c3 status. It really becomes people that I rely on, and that for the rest of my life I'm gonna, be thankful for, that I've come across. And, my son Jackson, I think about him a lot. He's gonna be 10 and he grew up with CADC. He put awards together and he went to events and he sees a club now and he's like, Mom, is that you? Like, he grew up from being a baby around some people to now hanging out with their kids. And it's interesting when you have something in your life that means so much, from your career to your friends to something that you're proud of. It's definitely humbling, and that's all I can think of on the way here, is that there's so many stories and there's so many things that were very, very important in my life that I can put back to CADC, that I wouldn't trade it. I love it.
So this year, I chose the Long Island Sound Study website as my Judges Award because I thought, above all other entries, it was fundamentally the most put together, well buttoned up, most well-presented, art-directed package there was. Despite being just a website, I thought that the wealth of content, the way that the site was architected, the strategy behind the layout, the color coding, the accessibility, the utility of it all, the easy to navigate menu and interface, the fact that it was for a nonprofit, which they don't get enough design love, I think. It all just felt really, really well done and well thought out, and no detail seemed overlooked. I thought that the more you spend time with that website, the clearer it is that it was just a very thorough process and no stone was left unturned. The hierarchy of the fonts and the typography, the colors, it all coalesces into a really, really nice package.
contains everything to me. I mean, it's so sophisticated, even from the opening die cut to all these kind of images, the typography behind the other text. It has a nice flow. That's my favorite. We can keep talking about which one is everybody's favorite, but that's mine.
I don't think we need to be honest. I mean, it sounds like people are gravitating towards the print piece. Maura, you're the only one I think that maybe hasn't spoke up for or against it.
I probably would lean towards the print piece just for originality. I think it's really unique and love the die cut and love what they've done with the layout. So I would go towards that one.
We have a quorum.
I really don't think someone was going to say that.
I never heard that. I never
really
heard that
hoping
in
someone
20
would.
years.
We really started working on the design of this the day after the election, which I'm sure you remember, like nothing was settled. And so it was a very emotionally charged day. We had like half the students in Zoom.
We had some students who were able to work remotely and in person, but I was completely remote.
And so we were not at the UConn campus.
There was a major storm coming through, like one student lost power.
I was having internet issues for about a week.
We were in like little Zoom breakout rooms trying to do a design charrette. Like it was insane.
Seeing something on screen and then printing it, they're two entirely different things.
The technology challenges were always there, but we tried overcoming them the best that we could.
Nobody was together, and yet this was a group project. Like it just seemed to me so clearly the most compelling artifact to come out of the year.
I'm actually pretty happy with how my influences turned out, and I'm even happier with how the book turned out.
It's just like a visual identity of our class, which was really nice because we felt so distanced during COVID.
There's just like so much heart and circumstance that went into the making of the book that just makes it, I think, feel as an object just kind of all the more powerful that it came out of fall 2020. Like what a crazy time.
So for the Judges Award, I chose the Flora Integrated Campaign, Nom Responsibly. I just felt that this was a really beautiful and well-executed campaign. They were able to marry really great food styling and typography in a really beautiful way, using the dish as the O for the nom. It had really fun and vibrant colors that made it really appealing. The food styling was great. I loved how subtly they carried the plant from the logo into the food styling and photography. And they also did these really fun videos and animations that were just very eye-catching without being over the top.
It's very unusual for him, because over the years, we have given many, many, many talks about our work, about a project, and Peter always was the one to speak first. And then I would fill in what I think needed to be added. So this is very...
Let's turn that around now.
And this is actually a symbol of the way our relationship has flip-flopped too over the years.
I'm still here though.
Yeah.
Well, before you might respond really quick, Evan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
So I kind of didn't care for much at all.
Dissenter!
So yeah, we have a dissenter in our ranks, and that's me. Very sorry about that. Not to throw a wrench in it.
No, you're not.
I guess I see it this way. The spirit of creativity, to me, was what embodies why we got into this. And I guess from my perspective, it's to do just killer, insane work on a prolific scale to affect change.
The genesis of the piece was actually from an independent study that came out of my motion graphics class. I think for all the faculty, when we showed these at a faculty meeting, it sort of opened up everybody's eyes to be like, wow, like we knew all this stuff was going on. But when you can consolidate it to sort of be able to communicate it like this through a video, and market it to people, which is obviously part of the objective as well, you just get this much broader picture that you don't get, and you don't totally, I think, sort of grasp on a day-to-day basis. There are all these amazing things happening in the department, but it's not getting communicated. It's kind of not out there, unfortunately. And this seemed like the most effective, immediate way to communicate to anyone interested in this kind of work. Here's what you can do here. It's exciting.
The piece that I selected that is my favorite one, is the Remembering piece about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The reason why is because technology has taken over a large portion of what was done by artists and designers. Today, anybody or everybody can take good or bad photographs. Anybody could design good or bad brochures. Anybody could create great or bad animations. But the lateral thinking of the creative people will never be replaced. The Remembering logo, RBG, is a living proof of that. Its simplicity and creativity is unique. I would like to congratulate the designer who was able to come up with this brilliant concept and execution. Congratulations.
Judges Award, I wanted to honor project music changed through music. I found it engaging, fun, and well executed. The color palette was colorful and really spoke to kids or a learning environment. The transitions and scale were awesome, and it helped to have a lot of content to work with, really amazing content to work with. I thought they did a nice job of introducing you to the program and highlighting diversity that didn't just include the music, but the environment. It included students of various ages, ethnicities, teachers, programming, et cetera, et cetera. I thought that it was very important with this project, though, that they also had captions. And so even though captions weren't overlaid throughout the entire thing, I actually tried to think about accessibility. And I thought, what would happen if somebody who was hard of hearing viewed this? And so I went back and turned the sound off and experienced pretty much the same joy that I had the first time around with music. And to me, that's a win. I can't highlight how much more I love about this, except for at the end of the day, it made me smile and it also made me want to donate. So essentially, it's a win-win and another win for me.
I'm so gratified that Gina's gotten this because it's not just the recent work when she became the Cummings of Cummings and Good and all the work that got awards after that, but from the time we started working together, she has been my really soulful partner.
That was really heartening for me to think, oh, people were aware of, who I was or whatever and who I am or whatever. So that was lovely to know. One of the paintings, I took one of the potatoes and in my analytical side, I showed the 4 sides of the potato. So I'm just so fascinated with studying something so humble, so carefully.
Gina is very holistic in the way she thinks about something. She can't compartmentalize. She thinks about the whole thing.
And I believe the more deeply personal I express myself, the more it reaches people. So I decided I wanted to do a portrait about who I am as a woman. And I wanted to fit life size on this 22 by 30 inch paper. So I sat down, squatted down, grabbed a yardstick, put it by my head, and then I worked from the photograph and did this life-size drawing. And I think our kids were teenagers then. I thought, oh, what are they gonna think of their mother doing this? But they were used to their mother being a little different anyway.
I'd say so.
But what the most wonderful thing was the women, especially women, just loving, seeing the strength and confidence that I expressed in that. And most nudes throughout history, it's the male gaze looking at the woman. But because I'm staring out at you, I didn't realize it, but it's intimidating to a lot of men, and the women love it because they see, here I am. It was wonderful for me to get that reaction, not really thinking about what the reaction would be. I just wanted to do a full-size portrait and fit it on this favorite paper.
It was so wonderful to visit with Jan and Peter to have that conversation. It was my first time meeting both of them, and their presence is truly inspirational. Our Hall of Fame includes some of the most dedicated and talented people Connecticut has ever seen. Jan Cummings has raised the bar that much higher tonight. Congratulations, Jan. Thank you for all of your contributions and for being a part of the CADC. The history of this organization itself is just incredible. Started in 1974 in a time when the ad executives would be the one to receive the credit, there was a need for recognition for those creating. Our founder, Mark Vogt, recognized this and went to the post office in New Haven on Church Street and took out P.O. Box 1974. He started writing to creatives and having events. That was it. That was the beginning. It was grassroots at its finest. And for the past 46 years, a tremendous amount of talent and creativity has contributed to the history and legacy of this organization. One of the many factors that led to me accepting this role was this history. This is truly unique to us, and it's what sets us apart. It is very important to me that we stay relevant without forgetting our roots. Soon after I stepped into this role, I spent many months having conversations with past leadership of the CADC. From our founder, Mark Vogt, to early members Anita Seuss and Sean Kernan, Sue Quirk, Mike Skriko, and many, many more. I also reached out to many faculty chair at Connecticut universities and colleges. Our chats revolved around why creativity and design is important and how the CADC can be supportive to students and new graduates. Supporting future generations entering creative fields is vital to the sustainability of this club. We have always recognized and supported creatives, though the award show has always been the cornerstone. Having to cancel last year was a very difficult decision to make. Though, as Logan mentioned earlier tonight, it revealed a great deal, and in many ways, we have been grateful for the clarity. The Connecticut Art Directors Club is going through a long overdue recalibration. A lot of work has been done, but we still have a ways to go. We need to create new and better ways to support our community, in addition to this show. The value of our membership needs to increase, and the impact we have needs to grow. We greatly appreciate everyone's patience and understanding as we reestablish a better, more solid foundation for the CADC. So as we head towards the end of our program, I have to express how grateful all of us at the CADC are for your submissions this year. We received over 250 entries and were blown away by the level of work that we saw. As you heard from our judges, there was a lot of hard decisions to make, though our final award was certainly the most deliberated, as it should be. For this year's Best in Show, I sat down with our winner to find out more.
These are amazing pieces, I have to say. These are fantastic.
Yes, they really are. The execution of the campaigns, as well as the timeliness from a Best in Show perspective, I definitely agreed both of those were on my radar for that.
Talk about art direction. This is art direction,
yeah,
pure and simple. And so I totally agree. I'd happily vote for that one too.
Yeah, and the signatures, I mean, think about even just gathering all the assets for that. Yeah. I mean, I'm just imagining 200 signatures in the production side.
Yeah, the scope of work was just enormous. It was like amazing that they were able to create so many individual illustrations for each person.
It was solid all the way around. It had, it was well executed and it was well received. And we can tell by what they shared. So I would not be opposed to giving it, this top award. Like I said, sometimes I like to throw in others just so they can be seen.
I've been working with Rock the Vote for a long time, and towards the end of the 2020 general election, we came up at Rock the Vote with this idea for a campaign called Hooper's Vote as a way to really galvanize, educate, and support basketball fans across the sport to really get out there and be a part of the process and go out there and vote. And we called on our friend Elliot to come up with, originally it was 10 to 20 original graphics to celebrate the men and women from the basketball community who we had partnered with, who wanted to get out there and have their voices heard. But in true Elliot and Heartland fashion, it came to be something like 450 of these things, which then the campaign itself took another life of its own. And so it was very natural and a positive experience. And I'm really proud of what Elliot was able to really come up with. He's one of the more creative people I know.
When Ben came to me, I knew automatically that this was going to be something that I really wanted to push and find a whole new style. Ben was great. Like he was very specific on his direction. Sometimes I wanted to kill him, but he got the best out of me. And that's a good client.
So that creativity through the design, through the intricacy of the work really hooked the players, which then of course by proxy hooked the fans.
I wanted the basketball community to make a difference in this election, and I believe we really did.
As long as we can keep the conversation in basketball culture connected to voting, we're gonna do our part, and I think this artwork is a great way to do that. And a huge shout out, lots of appreciation for Carolyn DeWitt and Katie Grover and the team at Rock the Vote. They do amazing work. They're a leader in the space for a reason. There's a reason why you remember them from your childhood, is because they've been around for a while doing it and doing a great job. So we appreciate them a lot. In this time, Elliot could have knocked out like 70 more Hooper's Vote graphics. So we got some work to do. We got to catch up.
Yeah, exactly. I would say 50, maybe not 70.
Congratulations to Elliot and to everyone at Heartlink Group for taking home Best in Show. You all did beautiful work, and we're looking forward to seeing much more. Thank you again to all of our judges, and to all of you for your submissions and your support of the Connecticut Art Directors Club. That brings us to the end of our show. If you haven't yet, check out the link in the description to head over to the show website for more details on all of tonight's winners. We look forward to seeing all of you in person very soon. Have a wonderful evening.